When you were young, just a kid playing with your toys, you often gave them personalities and imagined if they were alive and went on adventures, or even had tea parties with you. Then films like Toy Story came along and made that magic come to life. However, on the opposite side of that spectrum, much like that scene in Sid's bedroom, what if the toys that came to life were evil? Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 films about killer toys. Number 1. Small Soldiers. Before it was commonplace for toys to sync up via an app or be able to speak and perform actions like Apple's iPet, kids in the 90s could only dream of their favorite playthings coming to life, commanding an army of plastic soldiers on a playground battlefield to take out the enemy's fortress, built out of randomly stacked junk and lawn equipment. However, unfortunately for little Alan, a military chip is accidentally fused with his new animated play function, which causes the toys to come to life with a vengeance. On one side, you have the Commando Elites, a bunch of souped up jarheads like the cast of Predator. And on the other side are the Gorgonites, a race of bestial humanoids just trying to survive. Of course, as a kid, most of that is lost on you. We always side with the Space Marines because fuck them aliens, am I right? As the toys come to life and begin to start up their conflict, Alan uncovers the history between the two warring factions and begins to grow closer to the Gorgonites. While commercially, the film didn't exactly set the box office ablaze, it did boast a star-studded cast including Tommy Lee Jones, Christopher Lee, Kirsten Dunst, Gregory Smith, and more. It's Toy Story, but for the Sids of the world. So hop on over to Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime to check it out. Number 2. Child's Play. Ade Dewey Dembala. Give me the power, I beg of thee. These words have forever immortalized the character in horror pop culture history. If you're someone who's never seen the film, it's pretty simple. Andy Barclay is a young, if somewhat precocious little twerp who's obsessed with good guy toys. Basically, Bob the Builder meets Cabbage Patch Kids of his era. It just happens to be his birthday and all he wants is a talking good guy doll. Well, unfortunately, the toy is a hot item, so his mother hasn't had the chance to get one yet. That is until the shady guy offers to sell her one in a back alley. She brings it home to her annoying little child and surprises him, and he is simply ecstatic. Not to give away too much of the plot, but soon enough the doll begins committing murders. Yet, since toys clearly can't come to life, little Andy gets the blame. Unbeknownst to most of the cast, a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray used an old voodoo ritual and transferred his soul into the doll moments before his original body was shot to smithereens. A classic horror picture, one responsible for many copycats, and still going strong today in the form of a streaming series. Make sure to hop on over to AMC Plus, Philo, Sling, Prime, Fandango, Google Play, Apple TV to check it out. Number 3. Demonic Toys. Similar to another film on this list, in fact, they had a sequel where they cross paths. Demonic Toys is your standard by-the-numbers killer toy film surrounding some kids and 2 cops in a warehouse for Toyland. Through some demonic ritual, the toys have come to life, being led by baby Oopsie Daisy, who was basically born from blood seeping into the corpse of a dead baby. It's all rather over the top, but it is the early 90s, and there was a lot of cocaine going around in those days. The original film still holds up pretty well, and they used mainly practical effects. But by the 8th installment, the 2023 release of Demonic Toys Jack Attack, It's a lot less forgivable and much more cringe. However, with that being said, if you need your deadly toy fix, head over to Tubi, Sling TV, Roku, or Prime to check it out. Number 4, Dolls. Annabelle before the Conjuring franchise was born. Set in the English countryside, Judy, her father David, and her stepmother Rosemary are stranded due to a violent thunderstorm. They seek shelter in an old mansion, meeting an elderly couple named Gabriel and Hilary Hartwick. Due to Judy having lost her precious Teddy, the kindly old Gabriel gives her a new doll, this one named Mr. Punch. In fact, the mansion has a bunch of highly detailed toys and dolls, and it seems that Gabriel is quite the doll maker. Enter another couple, Isabel and Enid, who are petty thieves trekking across England, who hitched a ride with a guide named Ralph, someone they intended on robbing. Well, that very night, Rosemary is attacked by the dolls and falls out of a window and dies. So sad. Oh well. As the night continues, Enid is captured and almost turned completely into a doll herself. Several more attacks happen, and you can kind of guess where this film is going. I'm not one for spoiling films if I can help it, so hopefully you get the gist of what happens in this film, and it's enough to make you curious. If that's the case, head over to Tubi, Pluto, Roku, or Prime and see it for yourself. Number 5, Puppet Master. A classic killer toy film. It's also one of the longest running horror franchises to date, with over 15 entries so far. Over the years, the lore has changed, and new faces have joined the killer gang, but the original still stands the test of time. On Team Toulon, we've got Pinhead, Jester, Tunneler, Leechwoman, Blade, Genie, and Shredder Khan. The humans are less important, except for Andre Toulon, a Jewish puppet master who only survived the Nazi occupation due to his ability to entertain the troops, as well as his secret formula, which not only brought the puppets to life, but if given to a human, could make them immortal. I think my favorite death scene is the one involving Tunneler. It hasn't aged particularly well, but it's the one that sticks in my mind every time. If you want to watch a bunch of puppets massacre a house full of guests, as well as some Nazi scum, head over to Tubi, Peacock, Sling TV, Roku, and Prime.
Looking for some new duds to dazzle your friends and family with? Support Fat Ninja Studios by heading over to fatninja.shop and checking out our very own merch store. We've got everything from shirts, hoodies, hats, shoes, and more. Again, check out fatninja.shop. Every dollar spent goes to our big fund jar and helps us produce more quality content and short films. Thanks again.
Number 6, Pinocchio's Revenge. Not every film on this list is a classic must-watch gem. However, in order to bring you a diverse list of titles, we have decided to include some duds, and they don't get any more ridiculous than Pinocchio's Revenge. Basically, a lawyer is trying to defend a convicted child murderer, whom she believes is actually innocent, and she receives a large Pinocchio puppet as belated evidence. When she brings it home to study it, instead of having a forensics expert look it over, her daughter mistakes it as her birthday present and becomes attached to it. This is when Zoe, the daughter, starts to become unbalanced, and soon unfortunate events, like the bully at her school getting killed by being pushed in front of a bus, or the mom's boyfriend David gets knocked down the basement stairs, begin to pile up. Of course, no one believes the little girl when she says the puppet did it, and soon she is seeing a psychiatrist. And you see where this is going? It's basically just child's play, but with what the studio was hoping would be a more iconic doll. It's got some decent kill scenes, but otherwise, this was one of those horror films that went straight to VHS back in the day, and only die-hard enthusiasts should add to their library. If that's you, head over to Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango to check it out. Number 7, Benny Loves You. This 2019 disaster is another example of the so bad you have to at least see it once kind of horror film. More comedy than horror, and I use that word comedy very loosely here. The story follows Jack, a failed toy designer who is on the verge of being homeless and destitute, when he is forced to sell a majority of his possessions, including a little stuffed bunny named Benny. As this is a killer toys list, Benny is of course sentient and comes back, destroying all of Jack's other toys so that he has no choice but to keep them. Of course, later on, Jack finds out that Benny is quote-unquote alive and is inspired by him and tries to create several new toy designs, which Benny becomes a bit jealous that Jack isn't giving him his full attention and begins to kill people and pets that might take it away from him. Honestly, there's not much more to say about this stinker. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of it, check out Dead Meat's kill count video for it. Or if you want to torture yourself, head over to Tubi, Pluto, Roku, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango to check it out. Number 8. Annabelle Creation. The Conjuring universe has done pretty well for itself, with all 3 main installments being pretty well received and pretty spooky. However, the same can't be said for the various spin-offs set in the same universe. Both of the Nun films have been maligned by audiences, and out of all the various Annabelle films, there's only one that's any good, which brings us here, Annabelle Creation. Annabelle Creation is a prequel to Annabelle, and the second film in that particular spin-off series. It came as somewhat of a shock to critics and audiences how good it actually is. Annabelle Creation was given a new director, David F. Sandberg, who previously helmed the taut, thoughtful, and creepy supernatural thriller Lights Out. The original Annabelle scribe, Gary Dauberman, returned for the prequel, but he was on point for this go-round. Dauberman delivered a personal, thoughtful, eerie, and even tragic narrative. Set in the 1950s and being unabashedly a period piece helps. Annabelle Creation stands out. The story involves a toy maker and his wife who tragically lose their daughter. Several years later, they take in a nun and 6 orphans to live with them. The couple act as a surrogate parent for that are clearly still grieving. One of the more fascinating elements of Annabelle Creation is that it isn't entirely clear who the protagonists are until later in the film. It ends up being 2 of the orphan tween girls, one a paraplegic. The frights often come with the girl's perspective and experiences engaging with the titular demonic doll. While the spook factor is high in Annabelle Creation thanks to all the cleverly crafted scares surrounding the harrowing doll, Annabelle, the film, is ultimately a finely fashioned character-driven drama. You can check it out over on Paramount Plus, Hulu, Sling TV, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 9. The Pit. Filmed in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin and Waupun, Wisconsin. I don't know whether to be proud or ashamed I live in the same state. The film is not great. It follows Jamie Benjamin, a little 12-year-old misfit from Toronto, Canada, and he's basically a punching bag for all the bullies in his school, or in the city, or even his own family. So the only friend he's got is a stuffed bear named, drumroll please, Teddy. Jamie is just hitting puberty as well, and his obsession with girls is growing to an almost unhealthy level. And so, of course, when his parents leave for a weekend trip and he's left with a cute babysitter named Sandy, he falls head over heels for her and imagines all the ways he would bone her. He also tells her a secret. Deep in the woods, there's a pit filled with these creatures he names trogs, which only eat raw meat. Teddy begins to suggest to little Jamie that perhaps he should start bringing all the people who torment him to the pit and feed them to the beasts. One day, though, he takes Sandy to see the monsters, and she unfortunately falls in and is eaten alive. While trying to save her, he leaves behind some rope which allow the Trogs to escape, and all hell breaks out in the town. I can't fully recommend watching this film beyond a notion of guilty pleasure. So if you love bad movies and need a fix, tune in over at Tubi, Peacock, Sling TV, or Fubu TV. Number 10. Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. So the original films were about a serial murderer dressed in a Santa suit and a bunch of psychological trauma. While not exactly grounded in reality, it was at least more believable than whatever started happening to the franchise down the line. And that isn't any more evident than with Part 5, also known as The Toy Maker. It starts off with a young kid named Derek who gives his father one of those musical Santa orbs, which ends up strangling him by possessing some electrical power cords. The father slips and falls into the fire pit while trying to fight off the toy and gets impaled by the fireplace poker. This causes Derek to go mute for the foreseeable future, because of trauma. If you've seen Toy Story 3, then you can kind of guess how the rest of the film is going to pan out. A toy store owner has been in a business slump because no one wants the toys they sell. So the new toys need to be made, and the old toys don't want to be destroyed, so they begin killing people. Honestly, the film is all over the place and feels like it was cobbled together from some of the other films we mentioned on this list, and it's just messy. That being said, if you've seen the first 4 installments in this franchise, might as well check this out as well, and you can do that over on Tubi, Plex, Fandango, Apple TV, or Prime. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.